Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. There is nothing more powerful, nothing more unforgettable, and nothing more savage than a woman who learns how to ignore a man with grace, with strength, and with peace. Let me tell y'all something. There's a kind of power that don't need a microphone, don't need no raised voice, don't even need a long paragraph. It's called silence. And when a woman gets quiet, really quiet, it shakes a man's soul like thunder on a clear day. See, most men out here, they used to noise. They used to women arguing, pleading, begging, chasing. They expect you to blow up their phone, pull up with questions, demand answers. That's what they prepare for. They brace themselves for the drama. But what they don't know how to handle is silence. That's when they get scared. That's when they start to fold. When you stop explaining yourself, stop trying to make him understand how he hurt you. Stop texting those long messages trying to make him see your worth. You do something magical. You give yourself the upper hand. You shift the power dynamic, because now, instead of you wondering what he's thinking, it's him wondering about you. He'll be laying there at night like, why hasn't she called me? Why ain't she mad? Why ain't she trying to fix this like she always do? He'll check his messages just to see if something glitched. And the silence, that's what eats at him. Not your words, not your tears, but your absence. You see, silence is elegant, it's controlled. It says, I don't owe you anything anymore. And it forces him to sit in the mess he made. Most people, when they mess up, they expect to argue their way out of it. But when there's nothing coming back, no response, no explanation, no reaction, that's when they really have to face themselves. A man can ignore your voice, but he can't ignore your silence. It lingers, it echoes in his head, it haunts him. Now, some of y'all think being silent means being weak, baby. No. It takes more strength to stay quiet than it does to speak. It takes confidence. It takes peace. It takes knowing I don't need to convince this man of anything because I already know what I bring to the table. That kind of woman is dangerous in the best way. She don't chase, she don't beg, and she sure ain't explaining herself to someone who couldn't appreciate her the first time around. And when you move like that, oh yeah, he notices. Let's be real. When you stop reacting, you take away his control. See, some men, they live for the reaction. They poke at you just to see if you still care. They test you just to feel that old control again. But when you hit them with silence, you shut down the game. You no longer playing. You're moving on. And that silence, that's the message. It says, you can't reach me anymore. You lost your access. And trust me, there's no louder message than the one you never say. So while he's sitting there, stuck in confusion, replaying everything he did, wondering what you're thinking, you're already steps ahead. You're healing. You're growing. You're leveling up. That silence becomes your sanctuary. It becomes your weapon. Because now you ain't trying to be understood. You're just choosing your peace. And listen, it ain't about making him suffer. It's about choosing you. When you decide to stop giving energy to someone who kept draining it, that's when everything changes. He'll feel it. He'll feel it hard because the woman who used to fight for him, used to pour into him, used to light up at his presence is now quiet. And that silence, that's louder than any I miss you or I love you he could ever fake. So remember this, when you stop explaining, they start wondering. And when they start wondering, that's when you've already won. Because your silence says more than your words ever could. Let me tell y'all something, and I hope every woman in the room hears me loud and clear. When a woman starts to prioritize herself, everything changes. Not just for her, but for everybody who ever took her for granted. See, most of the time when a woman loves, she loves hard. She gives, she forgives, she shows up even when she's tired. She answers calls she shouldn't, responds to disrespect with patience, and makes excuses for behavior she knows deep down ain't right. But the moment she wakes up and decides, I'm done putting me last, oh man, she becomes a whole different force, a mystery, a riddle that man can't crack no more. You see, men get real comfortable when a woman revolves around them, when she constantly checks in, worries about what he's thinking, sacrifices her peace to keep him calm. But when she flips the script and puts that same energy into herself, her goals, her health, her joy, he starts feeling that shift. He notices she don't answer right away no more. She ain't got time to argue about nonsense. She walking different, talking different, and he can't figure it out. What's going on with her? He wonders why she ain't chasing me like before. That's when she becomes a mystery. Because now he's not the center of her world, she is. And let me tell you something about a woman who centers herself. She becomes unpredictable, not in a toxic way, but in a powerful way. You can't play games with her because she ain't playing. You can't manipulate her emotions because she's too busy mastering her own peace. You can't keep her in your little cycle of confusion because she's not circling back. She's elevating. Now, the problem for most men is they don't know how to handle a woman like that. A woman who's not desperate for attention. A woman who don't need validation to feel beautiful. A woman who loves herself more than she needs his presence. That kind of woman keeps a man up at night. Because he can't read her. He can't predict her moves. He don't know how to win her back, and that eats at him. She used to be all open, all heart, all access. Now, she's selective. She's intentional. And most of all, she's unavailable to the same nonsense she used to tolerate. And here's what's wild. When a woman makes that switch, she don't even got to announce it. It's in how she walks, how she dresses, how she protects her time, how she looks in the mirror and smiles, not because of a man, but because she knows she's enough. That kind of energy, that kind of vibe, oh, it confuses the hell out of him. Because he remembers the woman who used to wait up, cry at night, text long messages, try to explain her worth. Now, she don't say a word. She just lives, and that silence, that self-love, it makes her a whole new woman. One he can't reach, can't figure out, can't touch like before. See, when a woman prioritizes herself, she's not being selfish. She's being wise. She's done pouring from an empty cup. She's done trying to fix broken men while breaking herself. She understands that peace is more important than proving a point, that healing is better than holding on. And when she stands in that truth, she becomes powerful beyond measure. She don't have to chase, because what's meant for her will meet her where she is. She don't have to beg, because she knows her worth ain't negotiable. And let me tell you, every man who fumbled a woman like that, he remembers her forever. Not because she was loud, not because she begged for love, but because she left a mystery in her silence, a question in her peace. And no matter who he dates after her, he'll always compare them to the one he couldn't figure out, the one who chose herself. So ladies, don't be afraid to choose you, to put yourself first, to become the woman that doesn't need to be understood, to be unforgettable. Because when you prioritize yourself, you don't just become a better woman, you become the mystery he regrets losing. Let me tell y'all something real deep, and I want you to hold on to it for life. There is no revenge more powerful, more savage, more unforgettable than peace. I'm talking about the kind of peace that don't flinch, don't fuss, don't respond to drama, that silence that follows disrespect, that calm after chaos. That right there will mess a man up more than any argument or payback you could ever play. Because peace says, you no longer have the power to disturb me. And that drives people crazy. See, everybody's used to a reaction. That's what they want from you. They want the yelling, the tears, the late night messages. They want to see they still got you wrapped around their finger. But when you give them nothing, no reaction, no energy, no access, they start to unravel. Because now it ain't about what you said, it's about what you didn't say. It's the quiet that kills their ego. It's the way you walk away like they no longer exist that makes them question everything they ever did to you. And indifference, oh baby, that's the ultimate statement. See, hate still shows emotion. Anger still shows connection. But indifference, that's the coldest flame. That's when you're done. That's when you're free. That's when you stop trying to prove anything and just let your peace do the talking. You ever seen a man try to win back a woman who stopped caring? That's a man in panic mode because deep down he knows she's gone for real this time. Let's not pretend. Some of y'all been there. You used to respond to every little thing he did. You go back and forth trying to explain how you feel, hoping he'd change. But then you woke up one day and said, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm choosing peace. And from that moment on, your energy shifted. You stopped talking about him, stopped reacting, started living, started glowing. And the same man who thought he had you on lock, he started watching you like he ain't never known you before. Because he couldn't understand how the woman who used to fight for him could be so silent. See, revenge, the kind people expect, is loud, it's messy, it's temporary. But peace is a lifestyle. It's a message. It says, I'm good with or without you. And trust me, when you get to that level, people notice. They notice how you don't respond to the bait. They notice how you no longer show up where they expect you to fall apart. They notice how your name is still in their mouth, but theirs ain't even crossing your mind. And let's talk about how peace affects you. It's not just about making him regret. It's about finally giving yourself the peace you were begging him to give you. When you stop chasing revenge and start protecting your energy, you win. Every single time. Because now your joy don't depend on who stayed or who left. Your value don't change based on who couldn't see it. You realize you don't need closure, you just need peace. And once you get that, nobody can shake you the way they used to. Indifference is the final stage of strength. It don't come easy, but when you get there, you start walking like a woman who ain't bitter, just better. A woman who's not angry, just evolved. You stop checking for him, stop waiting on a message, stop hoping he'll finally see your worth. Because you already saw it. You already claimed it. And the peace you found in choosing yourself, that's your loudest revenge. That's the final word. And the best part is, you didn't even have to say it. So while he's sitting there wondering why you ain't reacting, trying to figure out if you've moved on, guess what? You already did. And you did it quietly, gracefully, powerfully. Because the most savage revenge isn't chaos, it's calm. It's your peace. And when you pair that with true indifference, you don't just walk away, you ride. Listen here, let me clear something up once and for all. Ignoring a man ain't about bitterness. It ain't about hate. It ain't about revenge. It's about healing. It's about elevation. It's about finally choosing you. See, people get it twisted. They think when a woman goes quiet, she must be holding a grudge. They assume she's plotting something, trying to get back at them. But nah, baby, sometimes that silence ain't about nobody else. It's about peace. It's about growing. It's about rising above everything that used to break you. Let me tell you something I learned from watching powerful women all my life. A woman doesn't go silent because she's cold. She goes silent because she's tired. She's tired of repeating herself, tired of showing love where it ain't valued, tired of giving chances to someone who just don't get it. So she finally says, that's it, I'm done. And that done ain't loud. It ain't dramatic. It's calm. It's quiet. It's final. And see, when you ignore a man who used to have your full attention, he notices. Oh, he notices real quick. He starts text things like, you've changed. But baby, that ain't change. That's growth. That's elevation. That's you choosing your peace over pain. That's you refusing to stay stuck in a cycle that's draining your spirit. It's not about punishing him. It's about protecting you. And that's what people don't always understand. You don't ignore him because you hate him. You ignore him because you focus on healing wounds he never cared to understand. You ignore him because you're busy rebuilding your self-worth from the ground up. You ignore him because peace is finally louder than your desire to be heard by someone who never listened anyway. That silence, that distance, that shift in energy, that's your healing in action. And let me tell you something about elevation. It requires separation. You can't rise if you keep holding on to what's weighing you down. You can't grow if you keep watering dead plants. Sometimes the only way to move forward is to shut the door on what's behind you and not look back. That's what ignoring him really means. It means you're done explaining your value, done proving your love, done accepting less than what you deserve. You're choosing to evolve, and you don't need his permission for that. I've seen it happen time and time again. A woman gives her all, gets hurt, tries to fix it, tries to understand. Then one day she just stops. She don't cry no more. She don't argue. She don't chase. She simply lets go. And that's when her whole life starts to change. Because now she's no longer available for confusion. She's no longer sitting in the passenger seat of her own life. She took the wheel, baby. She's driving now. She's got vision, she's got clarity, and most of all, she's got peace. And you know what happens next? That same man she ignored, he starts spinning. He don't understand the silence. He don't know how to handle the shift. He tries to come back. He'll say all the things you begged him to say before. But now it's too late because the woman he's talking to now, she's different. She's whole. She's healed. She ain't ignoring him to hurt him. She's just not in the same place anymore. She outgrew the pain, outgrew the confusion, outgrew him. That's why I say ignoring him ain't about hate. It's about healing. It's about elevation. It's about refusing to pour into a cup that never poured back into you. It's about realizing you don't need to beg someone to see you. The right people will see you, love you, support you. And you don't have to sacrifice your peace to keep them. When you ignore what no longer serves you, you make space for what will. You rise, you heal, and you walk in a peace so strong, it makes everything that tried to break you look small. That's real elevation. Now, let me break something down to you, and I mean this with all the love and realness in my heart. A man cannot miss you if you keep showing up. You hear me? It's impossible. You can't be a memory and a moment at the same time. If you want him to feel your absence, to realize your worth, to know what life feels like without you, then baby girl, you got to disappear. Not halfway, not I'm here, but I ain't really talking to you. I mean, gone, silence, distance, no presence. That's the only way he's ever going to miss you. See, women are natural givers. You love deep, you love with your whole heart. And sometimes that love makes you show up even when you're tired, even when you ain't respected, even when you know deep down you shouldn't. You think maybe if I remind him how much I care, he'll wake up. But let me tell you something. Men don't learn from comfort. They learn from absence. As long as you still calling, texting, checking in, showing up for birthdays, answering his late night "I miss you" messages, you're still giving him what he wants without giving yourself what you need. And that's not power. That's pain disguised as love. A man can't feel the weight of losing you if he never really had to live without you. If every time he messed up, you were still there holding it together, fixing what he broke, guess what? He never felt the consequences. He never had to sit in that emptiness and ask himself, what did I just lose? You see, real growth in a man doesn't happen when you show up to fix it. It happens when he looks around and realizes the one woman who used to love him through everything is gone. Her voice gone. Her energy gone. Her comfort gone. That silence will hit him harder than any words ever could. Let me tell y'all something. Distance is a mirror. When you remove yourself, he gets to see his reflection without your love covering it up. That's when it hits. That's when he starts remembering all the little things. Your laugh, the way you encouraged him, the way you held him down when he didn't even deserve it. But none of that registers while you're still in his face, still available, still answering calls. That's why you got to remove yourself completely. Don't post indirect messages. Don't try to trigger a reaction. Just vanish. That's when he starts to feel you. Not just see you, but feel your absence. Like a ghost walking through his life. You don't do it to hurt him. You do it to heal you. You do it so that if he ever wants you back, he knows exactly what he lost. And if he never comes back, then you know he never deserved you to begin with. Either way, you win. But showing up over and over again, that only teaches him that your love comes with no boundaries. That no matter how he treats you, you'll still be there. And baby, that's not love. That's a trap you built with your own loyalty. I know it's hard. I know it's tough to walk away from someone you love. But you've got to ask yourself, what hurts more? Missing him for a little while or staying in a place where you're constantly forgotten, overlooked, taken for granted? You deserve to be missed. You deserve to be valued, but that can't happen if you're still showing up like everything is okay when it ain't. Sometimes the strongest thing a woman can do is not show up, because once you go quiet, once you stop giving, once you stop being available, that's when the silence speaks loudest. That's when he finally has to deal with the fact that the woman who showed up for him more than anybody else finally stopped. And that's when he starts to realize maybe she was the one, but by then, baby, already gone. And that's the part he won't ever forget. Let me put it to you straight. Silence is powerful. Silence is a mirror. Silence don't need backup. It don't need an explanation. It just is. And when you go silent on a man who took you for granted, it does something to his spirit. See, when you stop explaining yourself, stop calling, stop trying to fix what he broke, he's left alone with the one person he's been avoiding this whole time, himself. Ain't no distractions in silence. It's just him and his decisions echoing in his own head. Now, ladies, y'all got to understand this. Some men don't feel the damage they've done until your voice is no longer covering it up. You used to be there constantly trying to make things better, smoothing over the mess, giving him reassurance. You'd cry, yell, plead, text long paragraphs, thinking maybe if you express enough pain, he'll understand. But he didn't, because your words became background noise, predictable, familiar. He knew you were hurting, but he also knew you'd still be there. But silence? Oh no. Silence changes the game. Silence makes him uncomfortable. And why? Because now he has to do something he ain't done before. He has to think. He has to sit in a quiet room with no messages from you, no updates, no calls, no I just want to check on you text. And in that space, he starts to remember, starts to ask himself, what happened? How did I lose her? And baby, that question is heavy. It weighs on his mind day and night because you never gave him a dramatic exit. You just left. And it's that clean break, that silence that makes a man reflect. It makes him face the truth about how he handled your heart. And the longer you stay quiet, the louder it gets in his world. He starts to feel your absence in places he never expected. In the morning when you're not texting him, at night when his phone stays dry. When something good happens and he instinctively wants to tell you but can't. That silence, it's like a ghost he can't shake. It follows him. Now I know some women think if I stay quiet, he won't even notice. Oh, he notices. Trust me, he may act like he don't care. He might post on social media, hang out, laugh like everything's cool, but that's all surface. Deep down, he's haunted by the fact that you're not reacting anymore because your silence says something he wasn't ready to hear. You've moved on, and you ain't got to be petty. You ain't got to make announcements. You don't need to slam the door. Just close it, lock it, and walk away. That's what real power looks like. That's what real self-respect feels like. Because the truth is, silence don't just teach him a lesson. It frees you. It allows you to focus on healing, on your peace, on your glow up. And while you're evolving, he's stuck with the last version of you he mistreated. That memory, it don't fade easy. He'll replay those moments when he dismissed your love, when he ignored your tears, when he laughed at your feelings. And the silence, it'll scream all those things he didn't listen to when you were still speaking. That's the weight of regret. That's the reality check. And trust me, that lasts longer than any argument. So don't think for 1 second that your silence isn't working. It is. It's doing what your words couldn't. It's holding up a mirror he can't look away from. And it's reminding him day after day that he lost a woman who had every reason to stay, but finally chose herself. And once a woman gets to that point, ain't no begging, ain't no crawling back that's guaranteed to reach her. Silence told the story better than you ever could.